topics. During the session, feel free to put any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A. My colleague, Cassie Fly, will be monitoring that and answering any questions you have throughout the presentation. So as Rachel mentioned, I am with the Temple University Small Business Development Center, and we're here to provide knowledge to our small business owners and entrepreneurs. We do that through a variety of ways, of course, the webinar you're attending today, but more specifically, we provide no-cost one-on-one consulting services. So if you need help talking about a CRM system, digital marketing, a business plan, financing, anything in between, we're here to assist you. We are funded by the Small Business Administration, the Department of Community and Economic Development, Temple University, and the Fox School of Business. Who am I? Well, I've got a lot of different knowledge from a lot of different chapters in my long career. Currently, I am the program manager here at Temple University, managing our PADTEP program, which is our digital transformation program. I've been with several different universities in the past, have a background in media and marketing, and you can talk to me about any of those areas. So today we're going to talk about the basics. What is customer relationship management, or CRM? What is CX, UX, CI? When we talk about CRM, what are those contacts, interactions, and experiences that as a small business owner and entrepreneur, you want to establish with a customer? And how do we start all of this? Do we pick a CRM platform, or do we use an Excel spreadsheet or Google Doc? And then, of course, your questions and answers throughout the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. So what is customer relationship management? Well, it really comes down to knowing who your customer is and engaging with that customer outside of just that one transaction. So it's a process. And when you think about the process, think about how you interact as a customer with other organizations. How do you like to be treated when you go out to dinner? How do you like to be treated when you're at the doctor's office, or when you're interacting with an online retailer, or maybe at your local coffee shop? So we're going to talk about those things and how using that data and analysis of that data will help you to better understand your customer and to interact with them in a positive manner. So think of CRM as a tool. It is a tool in your toolbox of all of the ways you interact with customers. But when you don't have the proper tools, it makes it a little more difficult, right? So think of CRM as that technology for managing all your company's relationships and interacting not only with your current customers, but potential customers in the future. Now, you have to set your goal, and each goal for all of you on the webinar today can be different for your business. But one of the primary goals as using a CRM system is to capture those leads and move them through a sales process. So especially over the past couple of years during the pandemic, we've all shopped online. Even if that's just ordering your daily cup of coffee online or on an app and picking it up. Well, what that's doing is the CRM systems at those companies are capturing your information and they're moving you through the sales process. A CRM goal can also be to support and manage your relationships with your current customers, and you want to maximize your lifetime value. And what that means is it is less expensive to keep a customer and to grow their interactions with you than it is to establish a new one. And throughout that whole process, one of your goals could be to boost your productivity. Not only maybe you're managing a sales team, a doctor's office, and it can overall lower the cost of your marketing and sales funnels. So when you look at the little graphic on this side, customer relationship management is at the center, but it's truly the customers at the center. And the wheel around that is how you manage that relationship. So it really comes down to a few, let me go back there, a few interactions. And let's talk about the customer strategy first. When you understand who your current and target customers are based on your business goals and needs. So think back before you started your business. You probably wrote a business plan, whether it was formal or informal. You looked at the market research and gained insight on who your customer is based on the goals of your company, right? So that target customer information is what's going to lay the foundation for a good CRM system. And from there, you could further segment your target audience. Now, these are one of the services we provide at the Temple SBDC. So if you think, wow, I'm not sure who my target audience is or who to take that large funnel and to bring it down to those who I really interact with, again, you could reach out to us after this webinar. So once we have that customer strategy, we have to think about customer acquisition. You could have the best website in the world. You could have the best dental practice, the best hair salon, but if you don't have the customer acquisition or your approach to connecting your target customers to increase that sales, then all of those steps aren't going to matter until we have that customer acquisition. And a good CRM system or a Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet can really help you to track those inbound and outbound marketing activities. We also want to talk about sales and experience. So think about an interaction you've had recently. I'm just going to use an interaction I've had recently with a good old doctor's office, an annual physical. So there was the email beforehand and a text message reminding me of my appointment. There's the appointment itself where the nursing assistant comes into the office. You know, they check your vital signs. They record that on the computer screen or in a tablet. That information is actually going into a CRM system that the doctor's office uses. After that doctor's appointment, you might need a new prescription that gets sent. That information is also tracked through their CRM system. And then I received a follow-up email and a text message to answer a short survey about my experience from the time I entered the doctor's office until I left. So they're looking at the experience. A week later, I got a reminder that I needed to schedule a vaccine, that I hadn't had a tetanus shot in over 10 years. So that CRM system is managing it. It really wasn't a healthcare professional looking to see if I had a tetanus shot. It was a CRM system. And then customer retention. Now, with a good CRM system, you can incorporate additional information, and we'll talk about how you can do and maintain that in the future. So there's so many benefits of a customer relationship management system. You just have to remember it's about the customer, but it's also about you managing your business more effectively, more quickly, and possibly cutting down on cost of doing things manually. So it can really give you insight into that customer behavior and help you to modify your sales funnel, your operation, your organization in a way that you can service your customers better, quicker, faster. Throughout this webinar, I'm going to give you some examples, but if you have examples of yourself, what I invite you to do right now, if anyone's using a CRM system or tracking your customers even in a Google Doc or Excel format, please put that in the chat, what you're using. And then Cassie, in a few minutes, you can relay that information to me. But some of the pros or the benefits of using a CRM system is you can really get trustworthy reporting. If you're enabled analytics on a CRM system, you can see visually and quickly where your customer is going, who's interacting with you more than once a day, once a week, once a year. And that can give you some automated messaging. We can set up some sales funnels, set out automated emails to interact with customers. At the Small Business Development Center, you are our customers, the small business owners and entrepreneurs. So Rachel, our marketing guru that introduced the webinar today, is going to use her analytics to improve the messaging to you so that we can meet your needs as SBDC clients. So a CRM system is also very proactive. Well, Amazon isn't a small business. It's the behemoth out there in the world right now. But I'm going to use it as an example right here. They are very proactive and enhanced automation. So if you are shopping for something, maybe it's a very difficult or hard to find item on Amazon, I'm hearing from small business owners that are searching for, it could be a car garage who's looking for a part. Amazon actually has vendors who sell parts. So when we're all right now sourcing because of supply chain breakdown, basically, you know, even a car garage that needs a part, maybe for a Honda, could be looking for automation. They're looking in Amazon. So let's say they're buying a carburetor. Well, the next day, Amazon's going to reach out to that person and saying, we see you bought this. People who normally buy a carburetor also buy a pipe, a hose. So the CRM system that they're using is using a centralized database to increase higher sales. So Cassie, do we have anyone who's currently using a CRM system?
So far, we've only had one in the chat that said they use pipeline details. I know there's others out there. Some are like Salesforce, Zoho, Pipedrive was one, and then HubSpot. Those are some others that are out there. I know. Looks like someone else uses Zoho.
Zoho, that's extremely popular. And we're going to talk about all the different ones here towards the end. Okay. Well, we're seeing other people put things in the chat.
Another Zoho. And it looks like some people are just starting to learn and about it. Honeybook and 17 Hats, maybe. But so far, the ones that I've seen that have ones are Pipeline Deals and Zoho.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all. Yeah, so those are wonderful platforms, and we're going to talk about some of the platforms in a few moments. But what I want you to consider for those of you who don't have a CRM system is what it means to you, but also what it can mean for the customer. So let's talk about the user interface. You know, my earlier examples, how just scheduling an annual physical and going through that process was very simple for me. And that was a customer interface. So the follow-up survey was about how that experience was. And again, that data is tracked through the CRM system. So you have to think about what is important to your company. Are you a small coffee shop and your customer interface has changed throughout the pandemic? Did you go from pre-orders to maybe shipping out whole beans to now people are coming through your business again, maybe 2 days a week, 3 days a week versus 5 where they used to stop? Is it important that your commerce site, your website, is also enabled with these transactions? And then to what degree do you want this all connected? And how are you going to manage it? Some of those CRM systems that were just mentioned, Pipeline and Zoho, have these automated interactions so that the customer interface is seamless. It's going to ask you to upload things, of course, just like managing social media or a website, you've got to manage your CRM system. And the user experience also is how you're going to interact to them with a marketing standpoint. So again, knowing that persona, as I'd mentioned before, your target audience, understanding the problem that a customer may have. One thing that a local coffee shop that I adore, and I always go to my small business coffee shops first, is that there was a person there that they had shared with me that continually had asked for almond milk or coconut milk, and they hadn't just opened and didn't have that on hand. So they were able to source it, and they've turned that once a week customer into a 3-day-a-week customer as they're driving to work. And that was all setting up their objectives and strategies, taking those features and turning them into a benefit, which is the overall solution. And the solution was quite simple, having alternative to, non-dairy creamers available so that they could make those coffee drinks that enhance the customer experience. You know, those of you that have websites, one of the things that we always encourage is a quick call to action on your home screen of your website, or even if you're using social media for marketing, could be on Instagram or other platforms. Signing up for a newsletter is one way to capture and build your CRM contacts, right? And then setting out, once you've got that email address, having that automated so the user experience is again seamless. But a good CRM system can do all of that and a lot more. So HubSpot recently looked at the customer experience and said, okay, based on interactions where we're using a CRM system, what does that look like? And here's a few statistics for you. So 94% of customers who had a positive customer experience would purchase more from that same company. So the customer at that local coffee shop that now can get her daily latte with almond milk or coconut milk might also now purchase a breakfast sandwich or a pastry of some sort, because they've had a very good customer experience. Also, 20% of customers who had a negative customer experience could purchase more from a company if it was addressed. And you can always address those negative interactions. First, we want to address them very quickly, but also you can address them through your CRM system. Maybe you send them a coupon for a free cup of coffee. Maybe you send them a response to whatever that issue they had with a purchase. Cassie, do we have any other questions out there?
We do have one, but I think it might be good to talk about after the different CRMs that you're just about to go into.
Okay.
The question was on CMs and how they might, what are good options for B2C versus B2B and investor pipelines. So I'm not sure if that's better answered now or once you go into all those.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, we will answer that question during the webinar. So let me go ahead and jump ahead to the basics because I think we will get there. So yes, some of my examples right now have been, customer, so B2C focused, but the B2B realm, we'll talk about that also. When you have a customer, so whether that's B2C or B2B, they are still customers. A CRM system can help you to collect, sort, and filter that client information based on criteria that you determine is important, right? So In those sales channels, we have to determine what's important when you're setting up your CRM system. If we talk about the basics, you're going to want at minimum the name, the email, the phone number of your clients, because you can do so much with that. You can send out a personalized email or text message to them by just knowing Janice Crile at Janice SBDC at temple.edu and my phone number. You can then start with a CRM Basics. But to build upon that, that local coffee shop knows how much money I'm spending a week, a month, or a year. They can then gauge my repeat needs and add ancillary offerings to me so that they can grow their revenue base. And all of that is very important. Sorry about that. Other things that you want to add is, how are people finding you? Are they finding you through your social media? Are they interacting through you solely on website? Are you e-commerce based? If you're a B2B, how are they finding you? Are they using referrals? And if so, are you offering your best customers a discount or a stipend if they bring a referral to you? For an example, let's say that you're selling, you're an office supply store and you're selling all the office supplies. So whether it's a mouse for a computer, a new laptop, ink for the printers, and you see that some of your best B2B customers, all of a sudden, you've got a new one and they say, there's a referral. Well, the referral funnel can be tracked through a CRM system. How did you hear about XYZ? How did you hear about Temple University SBDC? And we like to know, was you referred by another small business or entrepreneur that had a great experience with us? Tracking all of this information will help you then to supply the right information in the future. So this is a great example of tracking information. Think about all of those apps and companies that are out there right now to help you, centralize home repairs. So you're looking for someone to paint your house. You contact these businesses. They ask, about your budget, what type of paint you want to use, the location. All of this information then can go into that home remodeler or that contractor's CRM system. And then that can trigger, some automated emails, possibly a video showcasing their work. So if you need something painted, maybe you're going to also need windows in the future. Maybe you're going to need a new sidewalk. Maybe you're going to need insulation, a new kitchen cabinet. All of that information then can go into your company's CRM database and they become leads and you can nurture people in the future. Maybe you're also a contractor who only does painting, but you work with contractors who do cement work. Possibly you sell the leads or share the leads to build that accurate database. A good CRM system will also help you track the interactions. So how many times have you spoken to that client? Is it taking you 3 interactions, whether they're email, text messages, or a good old phone call to secure that business? Is it 7 interactions? Is it after 5 interactions, you never hear from someone again? Knowing that will also help you to automate your business and to streamline any processes. Because I'm sure as a small business owner, sometimes you can get frustrated. You've spent, 10 interactions, given them a proposal, maybe even done an in-home estimate, if I stick with this example. but you don't get the business. Knowing when it's more profitable to stop that interaction than to continue that interaction is also something you can track and develop through a CRM system. So the customer experience is really that impression you leave with your customers. It's your brand, and it's what's going to create that brand loyalty. You know, when I say the word marketing, you probably think of your email marketing campaigns, your social media marketing, your website. But CRM is also at the center of all those marketing interactions because the CRM is your customer, that customer relationship, and that's your brand. Now, we all want to improve our customer experience. And when you can do that through a good CRM system, it will increase your customer loyalty, and your customer satisfaction. One way you can do that is to analyze your analytics. So think on your company website. Hopefully you have Google Analytics enabled on your website. And if not, you can do that, and Google Analytics is still free as of today. Google has changed lots of things, but their analytics are still free. On those analytics, you can see who is coming to your website, when they're coming, how they're coming, what time of day, what pages they're looking at, and if it leads to purchase. You can do that with your CRM system by inputting that same data. Zoho is wonderful at showing those analytics. Salesforce's personal favorite if you are a B2B company, because if you are the salesperson and the entrepreneur, Salesforce.com helps to not only customer focused marketing and emails and interaction, but analytics, surveys, helps you determine the churn rate. It can predict trends, measure that satisfaction, and you can always check in on your customers. And that's what a good CRM system looks at. Now, there's lots of extras you can add on your CRM platform. And Zoho and Salesforce.com want to sell you everything, but you don't need it all. So I do encourage you to start out with the basics, but as you grow your business, you might want to incorporate some additional digital tools. For example, if you are a B2B or a B2C where you want to interact with people and you want them to schedule their own appointments, maybe you're a hair salon, maybe you're a physical therapist office, and you can enable appointments on your website. That can be done a variety of ways, but it can also be done through a good CRM system. You can also send invoices to clients. So if you are B2B and you want to send invoices, a good CRM system will help that. QuickBooks is one of our favorites at the SBDC when it comes to sending digital invoices. QuickBooks is also a CRM system, so that's another option out there. And you can also integrate all of your data through hundreds of apps, but I encourage you to start small and then grow. So with a good automation, you want to look at lots of things, and it, again, depends on your goals. What are your goals for your business? Are you looking to automate your marketing, your sales force, or your service? Do you need all three, or are you just starting with one? That's also going to help you to determine which CRM system is right for you. And again, if you don't want to purchase a system right now, you can start off with the basics. So that's what I'm going to discuss as we move forward. Excuse me. So we're going to start by assessing your individual needs as a small business owner. So where to start? First, and most importantly, look for the features that are going to benefit you and your customers. You could integrate all the features in the world, but if they're not going to be a benefit to you, or it's going to be too overwhelming, start again small and work your way up. A good CRM system can integrate your marketing campaigns, your budget, your project management, your inventory, your leads, all of those things. And a good CRM system, especially if you're a B2B, where your inventory is something that you're managing, maybe not on site, but in a different warehouse, having real-time data on where your inventory is and how it's going to be shipped, when it's going to be shipped, all of that can be handled through a CRM system. Think again about the behemoth being Amazon. Their real-time data and analytics is how they know where to ship, how to ship. Not long ago, in the past couple of years, a new Amazon warehouse opened within 30 miles of my home. Now, rather than 2-day delivery on Prime, it's 1 day, it's overnight. That's because they looked at the real-time data and analytics of the users in the area, what was available, and how they can integrate and support and grow their customer base based on that communication with their customers. Now, one way you can do that, if you don't know where to start, is with a customer journey or a customer journey map template. You can get it free through HubSpot. HubSpot's one of my favorites for small businesses because they provide an abundance of marketing and customer tools for you at no cost. So you will receive this presentation and a copy where you'll be able to click through to HubSpot, or you could just quickly Google search a customer journey map template and you can see that there. But what that will help you do is for you then to focus on, okay, knowing your customer, how did they find you and how do they continue to do business with you? So what is their journey? I also like to say at this point that this is also a great tool for you to use and develop a free focus group with either friends or family or your best customers and ask them a few questions based on their journey to find you as a small business. So there's lots of free and also paid CRM options. And it depends on, again, your goal. Salesforce can be very expensive, but if you're a national company, whether it's B2B or B2C, Salesforce might be what's the best for you. If you're a small business, you could be using Google Sheets and or Microsoft Office Suite. Google has been free, but as we know, I believe starting early August, some of their functions you will now be charged for as a small business owner. So, I'm just putting that out there as a reminder to be careful with it. HubSpot and Zoho. And there's lots of others, but let me get into some more specifics. So using Excel, this is just a great example of some information that you may want to use. You're going to have the customer's name. You're going to have possibly the company. This could be a B2B example. Who are they? Are they just your customer? Are they the owner? When is their contact date? What type of lead are they? And what was their lead source? Was it a referral, a website, or an email? And in Excel, you can have lots of tabs, and Google Docs, it would be the same across the bottom to help you interact. And from here, you could send automated emails. So this would just be a basic and a great way to start. If you do want to use a Google Doc or Excel, You could go on YouTube or a variety of systems to find out how to set up both Google and Excel properly so that you can send an email from here that's customized. In the example we're showing on this slide, you always want last name, comma, first name is one way to do it. It could be the reverse. My second field for me primarily would be their email address. And I think that that's something that should be included on the spreadsheets that you're using. Now, this is an example of a paid tool and a dashboard. If you want to see the different ones, and I'm just going to jump ahead here to the top CRM systems, you can have some free trials. This I just pulled from Forbes this morning, so it's up to date and accurate. Zoho is being one of the top rated for small businesses because they have lots of different levels that you can purchase. Monday.com, Zendesk, Insightly, Fresh Sales, Salesforce, etc. And also whatever ones you're familiar with are great. But they do have free trials. And if you go to any of their websites and learn more, they have a lot of videos. You can go to their YouTube sites and see how people are using them. And there are free chats so that they can answer your questions. Our goal with this webinar today is not to promote any one CRM system, but to make you aware of what's available and out there so that you can make that informed decision. Those of you who are using a CRM system, would you, are you liking what you're doing? Cassie, what are we hearing from people out there?
Yeah, we were just answering some questions in the chat. Let's see, it looks like that one question that had been asked about B2C versus B2B, you had actually answered some of that. Okay. We haven't had any more date on which ones they do use. One question though that came up was, having a CRM system, will it make communication with customers less personal? I think that it would actually be the opposite, because you have all those interactions saved, you have a whole history of the customer and how you've helped them over time, and therefore you have all that information to pull from. You have, what they've bought in the past, what their preferences are. You can see, if they've tried contacting you 4 times or 3 times, and that can help you to better serve them in the future.
Absolutely. Yes, Cassie is correct. It can help you to personalize. So it doesn't have to be a generic email. The whole CRM system is designed so that you can collect that data and information. So that if you see your customer who's coming into your local coffee shop 3 days a week, and you want to increase that to 5 days a week, interacting with them to learn more about their habits or why. Maybe they're only commuting to work 3 days a week. Maybe they're working from home too. But on those other days, do you have other options? Can you deliver your coffee? Are they interested in purchasing your brand of coffee beans, and can they be shipped to them? So a good CRM system can help you with all of that.
One other question we had was asking about, and someone else said that they do use QuickBooks. And then one question we had was, are there any suggestions for nonprofit organizations specifically?
Okay, great. Well, let me answer both of those. First, kudos to whoever's using QuickBooks because of the automated billing and accounting features. But if you're also using their CRM system, they have really grown that over the past couple of years, and I've seen some very positive analytics come out of QuickBooks. And then regarding nonprofits, absolutely, a good CRM system is just so vital. Think about your campaign that you're running. So if someone's giving to a local food bank and they're giving $100 a year, but we know during the pandemic, the need increased, right? People were out of jobs. Even now, food banks are being inundated with people who have never utilized their services before because of the increased cost of food and inflation. So if your donors have given you $100 last year, if you had a CRM system that said, okay, Janice gave me $100 last July, let me go back to her with a client story. How about a story that would pull to their heartstrings, obviously, a young family, mom and dad are both working, but they still can't make ends meet. Could you give us $200 this year in order to help the Smith family? Anything like that, but knowing your customer, or in this case, your donor, is really going to help you grow that donor base. So yes, I think it can absolutely be used for a nonprofit, depending again on your nonprofit and your ability to, whether you buy a CRM system or use one of the basic Microsoft Office tools or Google tools. I would highly recommend that you start capturing your donor interaction. So your donor is one client and those you serve is the other. So I actually see that as serving both purposes. We also have here using a paid tool example. This was from NetHut. This one isn't as popular anymore, but what I liked about it is that it's very customizable. So you can then integrate things such as your Gmail. You can integrate any of your business needs into it. But what I'm seeing too is that all of the systems now are making them customizable. So you have information. I hope we haven't overwhelmed you. That wasn't the goal. The goal was just to provide information. So now what do you do? Well, I say make a list of pros and cons. What are you looking for your small business or for your nonprofit or B2B? What do you need? What are you looking for? And develop that list. What's most important to you? And then once you have your needs, look for those features and benefits. Are you really just looking for contact management, or do you need marketing automation? If you're a B2B, do you need lead management? Do you need sales forecasting? Does that CRM system you want to purchase have a mobile app? Mobile needs to be integrated in everything. Does the CRM system actually help you to look at your sales data? Hourly, daily, monthly? What do you need? And remember, if you are going to purchase any of the CRM systems, reach out to them. Let them know you're a small business. They, oftentimes will have discounts for small business owners. Let them know that you only want to start off with the basics, but you're hoping to grow in the future. And communicate. So like you want your customers to communicate with you, communicate with the vendors of the CRM systems. And always allow room to grow. So if you're purchasing the basic plan now, which is fantastic, make sure that you have the ability to upgrade 6 months from now or a year from now, and that all of that data and customer information will move along the system. So with that said, we have any questions before I close out?
I have not seen any additional ones.
Okay.
Let me double check and make sure.
Okay.
One was Regina had asked any suggestions for a consultant if you do want to get paired with a consultant. I did drop a link in there where you can get paired with a consultant. We do offer consulting. So
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you just reach out to sbdc@temple.edu and you'll be paired with a consultant. If you're joining us from outside the Philadelphia region, we are a center of excellence, and there are 14 other SBDC centers across the state of Pennsylvania, and we'll be sure to connect you with another center within your region. For future webinars, you're welcome to scan this QR code and it will show you all the upcoming webinars we have for the next couple of months. We will be launching our fall webinar schedule probably in early August.
Janice, we did have just a couple more questions.
Okay.
One was, will the consultant assist me with setting up the CRM?
No, we do not assist with setting up the CRM, but we can give you some information on best practices and what to include. If you want to set up a CRM system, for example, within a spreadsheet, if you are using a paid service such as Zoho or HubSpot, they have people available to help you.
And then we have one other question. It wasn't clear to me how we build the CRMs differently. I understand there are different needs, but what are they all? When it comes to building and setting up a CRM system, this might have been similar to the last question. You would want to reach out to, like if you're doing Zoho or something, like you want to, talk with the Zoho team about that specifically. Any other comments to that, Janice, on how to build CRMs differently?
It really comes back to your goals of your business. What is your primary goal? Are you looking to just capture client information or customer information? Do you want to grow that list? Do you want to integrate information you already have? So it goes back to that. It really looks at providing that 360-degree view of your customer, knowing everything you can about them. And there's lots of different options within each CRM system to help you manage that sales funnel and or marketing process. And remembering, we just want to keep it simple, but you also want to be able to grow with a system and then to integrate it and engage with your customers on a regular basis. Well, thank you for all of the questions and for joining us today. I'm going to turn it back over to Rachel as we wrap it up.
All right. Thank you so much, Janice and Cassie, for such an informative webinar. If you look in the chat, I am dropping in a link to a survey. It's just a quick 4-question survey about today's webinar. We value your feedback and we use it to improve our events that we present in the future. It is also one of the requirements of our funder, the Small Business Administration, so that we can continue to offer these no-cost webinars and workshops for you guys. If there are no more questions, I'm going to hang on for just a little bit. If you guys have any more questions that you want to throw into the chat, we're happy to answer them. If not, we hope to see you at a future webinar. Like Janice said, we have plenty of webinars coming up on all different small business considerations. And as a reminder, you will receive a follow-up email with a recording and a copy of this presentation. All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Cassie. Really do appreciate it.